Silence unsettles people more than words ever will. You already know this instinctively. Think about the last time someone looked at you and simply didn't answer. Your mind rushed to fill the gap, didn't it? That pause felt heavier than any insult could. This is the strange gravity of cold communication. You create the frame, but you do it without raising your voice, without rushing to fill space, without letting emotion leak through your tone. In a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, your restraint becomes rare. It becomes powerful. Psychologically, we are conditioned to respond to stimulus, to fill silence, to mirror energy, to match tone. But when you stay calm, when your words are measured, you are no longer playing the game everyone else is playing. You're bending it. Jung wrote about the shadow, the hidden, often unconscious part of our personality that we avoid. Cold communication touches the shadow of the listener. It makes them see their own discomfort, their own impatience. And in that space, they start working for your attention, your approval, your reaction. This is the paradox. By speaking less, you can make others say more, sometimes more than they intended. The first step is to resist the reflex to fill silence. Let it breathe. Let it work for you. Cold communication begins before you say anything at all. Your presence is already sending a signal in how you walk into a room, how you hold your shoulders, how your gaze lingers or doesn't. This is pre-verbal influence. The Stoics called it bearing the quiet force of someone whose emotions are not easily disturbed. People feel it before they consciously notice it. Here's the thing, when your body language is neutral but grounded, you project both self-control and unpredictability. Humans are drawn to what they can't quite read. We trust the predictable, but we are fascinated by the uncertain. Cold communication feeds on this tension. In influence psychology, this is called low reactivity dominance. You're not rushing to prove yourself or dominate with volume. Instead, you communicate. I will speak when I choose to speak, not when you demand it. And without realizing it, others begin adjusting to your tempo. Think of it like pacing a conversation in your own rhythm, not theirs. If they're rapid, you slow. If they're loud, you soften. You create contrast, and contrast draws attention. Before your first word, you can already control the conversation. The question is, will you? Cold communicators' weapon is the pause, not the accidental pause of someone searching for words, but the deliberate pause of someone choosing them. A pause forces the other person to lean in, to listen harder, to anticipate what's coming next. In that suspended moment, you are in control of their attention. Existentialists like Sartre often wrote about the power of choice in the face of chaos, how even the smallest deliberate action can create meaning. Your pause is a choice. It's you refusing to let urgency dictate your pace. Why does it work? Because the brain hates unfinished patterns. When you stop speaking mid-thought, people can't help but follow the thread. Their minds start racing to fill the gap. And when you finally continue, your words land with amplified weight. But here's the subtlety. Overuse it, and the pause becomes a gimmick. The art lies in unpredictability, sometimes flowing quickly, sometimes letting silence dominate. This dynamic range keeps the listener slightly off balance, unable to settle into a rhythm you don't control. Cold communication isn't about saying less for the sake of it. It's about creating moments where your words and your silences matter more. Emotion is the easiest way to lose control. If cold communication is a blade, Emotion is the hand that can slip and cut you. When you let anger, excitement, or desperation leak into your tone, you hand the frame to the other person. They now know how to push you, how to make you react. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Cold communication is that philosophy in action. The less you react to emotional bait, the more unpredictable you become. This doesn't mean being robotic. It means mastering emotional minimalism, showing just enough feeling to seem human, but never enough to be manipulated. It means answering provocations with calm clarity, compliments with measured acknowledgement, insults with silence or a slow smile. Here's the deeper truth. When you control your emotional output, you control the temperature of the entire interaction. You set the thermostat. The other person either warms up or chills down to match you. The moment you learn to keep your tone steady under pressure, you stop being someone who plays the conversation and start being someone who owns it. People fear the unknown more than they fear the unpleasant. Cold communication thrives on this truth. When your intentions aren't obvious, when your reactions aren't predictable, people instinctively tread more carefully around you. This isn't about playing games, it's about refusing to hand over your entire playbook at the start. In Jungian terms, you're embodying the mystery archetype. You're allowing parts of yourself to remain unseen, creating a space for projection. Others will fill in the blanks with their own assumptions, and often those assumptions will work in your favor as long as you maintain consistency in your calmness. Why is this so effective? Because in most conversations, people reveal too much, too soon. They over-explain, overshare, over-justify, and in doing so, they give away leverage. Cold communication asks you to resist that urge. Answer questions simply. Offer less detail than expected. Let them wonder. Think of it like standing in a room lit only by a single lamp. They can see your outline, but not every detail. That partial view keeps them curious, cautious, and engaged. When you stop being fully transparent, you stop being fully predictable. And unpredictability is power. You don't win influence by talking. You win it by making others talk. Cold communication uses silence and minimal prompts to draw people out. The more they speak, the more they reveal, not just facts, but emotions, insecurities, and patterns. Every extra word they give you is a data point. In influence psychology, this is known as the listening trap. By speaking less, you create a subtle imbalance. They're investing more energy into the interaction than you are. And investment breeds attachment. The more they talk to you, the more they feel connected to you, even if you've said almost nothing, practically. This means asking open-ended questions and then resisting the urge to jump in. It means holding eye contact and letting them continue, even through awkward pauses. Eventually, they'll fill the silence with something they didn't plan to share. Socrates mastered this. He didn't win arguments by overpowering people. He won by asking just enough questions to let people walk themselves into their own realizations. Cold communication applies the same principle, but with an added edge. Your neutrality makes every word you do speak feel intentional. When you speak less, you hear more. And when you hear more, you control more. Control the frame. And you control the outcome. The frame is the invisible context of a conversation. The unspoken rules about whose perspective matters most. In every interaction, someone's frame wins. Cold communication is about making sure it's yours. How? First, by refusing to react to the other person's urgency. If they demand immediate answers, you slow down. If they try to make it emotional, you stay factual. If they try to intimidate, you remain unmoved. This sends a quiet message. I decide how this conversation unfolds. Philosophically, this is close to Stoic detachment, removing your sense of self-worth from the other person's approval. You aren't here to win them over. You're here to state your truth in your way. And paradoxically, that makes them more likely to respect your position. The frame you hold becomes the reality they have to navigate. If you position yourself as calm, measured, and in control, they must either adapt to your pace or risk losing influence entirely. Cold communication isn't about dominating people, it's about creating a reality they willingly step into. Every unnecessary word is a leak in your authority. In heated moments, people often talk themselves out of their own position. They reveal weakness, not because they lack a good point, but because they dilute it with excess explanation. Cold communication requires you to strip away everything but the essential. Think of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, short, direct, unadorned. A single sentence can be more powerful than a 5-minute speech if it's precise. Psychologically, brevity signals confidence. It says, I trust my words to stand on their own. The insecure over-justify. The uncertain ramble. The powerful deliver the message and let it echo. Here's a practical test before speaking. Ask yourself, does this add weight or does it add noise? If it's noise, cut it. If your point stands without it, let it stand. This doesn't mean you never elaborate. It means that when you do, it's deliberate. It's chosen, not spilled. And chosen words are remembered. Silence is free. Spend words like they cost you something. Power is felt, not announced. Cold communication rejects the need to declare authority. The more you insist on being respected, the less respect you actually hold. True authority comes from behavior, from the calm certainty that you belong, exactly where you are in Jungian terms. This is the integration of the king archetype, a presence that rules without shouting, that influences without chasing. The king doesn't explain why he's in charge. His demeanor makes it self-evident. You project this through stillness, consistency, and the refusal to overreact. People pick up on micro-signals, the steadiness of your tone, the way you move, the way you look at someone when they challenge you, and don't flinch. Announcing power invites resistance. Demonstrating it invites alignment. So the next time you feel the urge to prove yourself, try the opposite. Say less, do less, but make each action so deliberate that it leaves no doubt. Cold communication is not the art of getting power. It's the art of revealing that you already have it. Detachment is not disinterest. One of the biggest misconceptions about cold communication is that it means acting aloof or uncaring. But detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care selectively. You choose where your attention goes, and you don't give it away cheaply. This is what the Stoics practiced, to value your internal stability above the chaos of the outside world. When you speak, you do so from choice, not from impulse. And when you listen fully, but without becoming entangled in the emotional storms of others. Ironically, this selective engagement makes people value your attention more. If you respond to everything, your response is common. If you respond only to what matters, your words become rare, and rarity creates value. Detachment also protects you. You can be warm without being swept away, open without being exposed. You keep your center, no matter who or what enters your space. Cold communication isn't about freezing people out. It's about keeping your own fire steady in a room full of shifting winds. People remember how you end more than how you begin. In communication psychology, this is the recency effect. The last impression you leave tends to dominate the memory of the interaction. Cold communication uses this strategically. It means exiting on your terms, before the energy drags, before your point is diluted. Ending well doesn't always mean ending with a grand statement. Sometimes it's a quiet, deliberate close, a final sentence that lingers, a steady nod, a pause before you walk away. Think of it as leaving a door half open. They're left wondering what else you might have said. This controlled ending creates a sense of unfinished business, which keeps you in their mind longer. It's why some of the most influential conversations you've had ended with you thinking about them for days, not because they gave you all the answers, but because they left space for you to keep searching. Never overstay your influence. Leave while your presence is still felt. The greatest cold communicators live by one paradox. You control more by needing less, when you don't need approval, validation, or immediate results. You approach every interaction from a position of freedom. This is liberation from psychological dependence, the exact state from which influence naturally grows in existentialist thought. This is radical autonomy, the refusal to let your identity be shaped entirely by others. Your self isn't on trial every time you speak, and because of that, you speak with clarity, not desperation. Needing less doesn't mean wanting nothing. It means your wants don't control your behavior. You can desire connection, agreement, or respect, but you don't chase it. That restraint is magnetic. People feel safer around someone who isn't trying to extract something from them in every word. Cold communication starts as a technique, but it ends as a way of being. You become a person whose calm is unshakable, whose words are rare but resonant, whose presence shapes the room without ever demanding it. Silence is only powerful if you can bear it. Many try cold communication, but they break under their own quiet. The urge to fill space, to explain yourself, to soften the tension, it creeps in fast. But the person who can sit in that stillness without fidgeting, without overthinking, holds a kind of invisible authority. In Jungian psychology, this is shadow integration in practice. Silence forces you to confront your own discomfort, your own insecurity, before you can project control over others. If you haven't mastered your inner noise, your outer quiet will feel hollow to bear silence. You have to anchor yourself in your breath, in your body, in the conviction that nothing needs to happen this second. You have time, you have space. You're not here to be rushed. That's when silence becomes more than an absence of sound. It becomes a statement. Cold communication isn't about being cold. It's about being in command. At its core, this art form is a philosophy. Speak less so that when you do speak, it matters. Say only what you've chosen, not what you've leaked. Hold your emotions like a steady flame in the wind. Make people work to read you. Let silence work for you, not against you. It's influence without noise, power without volume, presence without performance. The Stoics would call it mastery of the self. The existentialists would call it living authentically. Jung might call it integration, the union of what you show and what you withhold. But to you, it will simply feel like peace. And in a loud world, peace is rare. Rare things are valuable. And valuable things control the market without ever shouting about it. The final challenge is simple. The next time you want to speak first, don't. The next time you want to fill the gap, leave it. Let them come to you.